Hi, this is Miss Thwaite coming to you live in stereo. First lesson or flipped lesson or podcast is going to be on unicellular and multicellular organisms. So I'm going to start you off here by looking at the tree of life, representing some of the different life forms we have on this planet. So you can see at the base of the tree, which I'm trying to draw on right now, you've got your simpler life forms represented down here. And the theory is that life evolved into more complex forms of being. So you've got things like your complex crab and lady beetle up here. So we'll start with the word unicellular. The best way to understand or remember what a term is to break it down into its parts. So wherever you heard of the word uni before, you may have heard of a unicycle or universal, uni meaning one. So uni meaning one, and cellular, obviously talking about a cell. Now you might remember cells from previous courses in science from last year or the year before. Right, so if we bring those words together, unicellular is talking about organisms or forms of life with only one cell. So what springs to mind when you think of a unicellular life form? Bacteria. Bacteria aren't the only ones though. You've got some types of yeast that are unicellular. In the pond outside our classroom, there might be these weird creatures called parameciums or amoebas. So we're going to go delve into that a bit deeper in class, but they're just 4 examples of types of life out there that just have one cell. Now, obviously, that comes with its limitations. Much of life you see on Earth is actually multicellular. Once again, if we break the word multi down, multi means more than one or many. It's a multicolour. So more than one cell. So most of life is multicellular. I'd like you to pause the video right now and have a little think why you think most of life is multicellular. Pause. Okay, so before we go into why life is more multicellular, most of life is multicellular, there's a little bit of a diagram here that might help you visualize it. So life can be organized into either unicellular or multicellular. So you've either got life as a single cell or more than one cell. So most of life, including me, is a multicellular organism. Okay, so your advantages of being multicellular. Well, you get to be a bigger organism. There's only a certain size that a cell can get to where it's not efficient for it to carry out its processes anymore. And we'll get more into that later in this unit. But things like delivering oxygen or glucose, the reactants for respiration, don't become as effective once you get to a certain size. So we get to have bigger organisms once you're more than one cell. When you have more than one cell, you get to have different jobs for those different cells. So differentiation means that your cells have a particular job or specialization. I'm just going to write that there with my pen. Specialization. Okay. And in doing so, because you get to have these cells that are doing their particular role, and you get to be a bigger organism, you get to be more complex. So all these different types of life forms have arisen because they get to have specialized systems. So I've got an example here of how cells come together to make a particular tissue. Tissues make organs, and those organs group together in a system to run your body. Okay, so multicellular organisms need specialized organ systems whereas all the life processes in a unicellular organism take place in that one cell. So multicellular organisms need organ systems to carry out functions such as communication between cells. So for example, you've got your nervous organ system and your circulatory system. So your nervous system is the system that's communicating between your cells, and your circulatory system through nerve impulses, and your circulatory through hormones and through your blood. Another function is being able to supply your cells with nutrients. So as we said before, once you get to a certain size as a single cell, it doesn't become efficient anymore for you to be able to deliver the reactants for respiration. So things like the digestive system help deliver glucose to your cells, and your blood system. Controlling exchanges with the environment. So things like your respiratory system, your breathing system, your lungs, your airways help control the gases that come into your body and exit your body, and also your excretory system. So all these particular systems I just spoke about, we'll talk about in more detail in another video. But in a nutshell, being multicellular allows you to be more complex, and let's go back to that original screen, allows you to be more complex. And that what gives way to this wonderful array of life we have on this planet. Thank you for listening.